What's going on, everyone? It says we're live. I'm hoping we're live. Had some weird things happening here real quick, but good morning. Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homeboat Workshop. I hope all of you, everybody, welcome. I hope you're all doing great. Yeah, I had a slight delay here. As soon as I fired up the whole setup and everything, it showed me like thousands and thousands of dropped frames, and YouTube said you're not getting enough internet data, whatever that is. And yeah, so I ended up having to restart like the whole network, the routers, the everything. And it looks like, fingers crossed, it looks like we're okay. So hopefully that stays. But yes, we are here. We are live. Welcome. Let me get the chat brought up here. How's everybody doing? As we settle in to this cold day today. It's a cold day. All right, there we go. We are good. All right, Robert's here. Robert says, hello, people. Hope everyone's doing well, staying safe and healthy. We're doing great, Robert. I hope you're doing the same. Sam's here. Sam says, hello, everyone. It's Home Built Shop. Who's that Home Built Shop guy? Always spamming the comments. Robert says, running late this morning. Just put on my pot of coffee to brew. That's okay, Robert. You're here. Coffee's on. Got my coffee here. Definitely appreciated today. And Harry Dude's here! Harry Dude, what's up? Harry Dude says made it on time for a change. No worries, Harry Dude. I know it's like, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning or something over there. You're good. Right on. Sam says, set comments to live. Bam. Already on it, Sam. Thank you for the reminder. I appreciate it. Albert says, bummer. It sucks that just as you think you're ready to go, you have to restart everything. Yeah. So I usually try to set this up at least 15, 20, 30 minutes ahead of time just to make sure for that exact reason. But today I was working on something else and I kind of delayed it a little bit. Not intentionally, but you know how it is. You kind of get that focused on something and I'm like, oh man, I better go get the live set up. So I went out, plugged everything in. It was only about 10 minutes early. And yeah, it said, nope, you don't have the internet connection you need for this. And I was like, great. What are we going to do? So I started restarting everything. And it seems okay. I'm showing like 1.6% dropped frames, which actually is going down because it was 2.2 when I started. So hopefully that's a good thing. And that means we are, we're going the right direction here. So you guys let me know if you're experiencing anything weird. Everything I can tell looks okay from our end, but yeah, that was an issue at the beginning here. So yeah, I just kind of got sidetracked. I wish that I just started it a little bit earlier, but man, it's just busy kind of stuff around here. And maybe we'll get to that here in a minute. It's kind of all out of the workshop stuff. Patty's here. Patty says, hey everyone, listening in on a train heading to Dublin to get the ferry across to the UK. Right on, Patty. What's going on? Hope your train ride is going good. That's awesome. On a train. The Wednesday Live is on a train in Ireland. That's cool. Hey dude, says 3 a.m. here. Sorry, I was off by an hour. Just got home from working on site, my normal Wednesday night. Hey, you're rhyming there, Harry Dude. Right on. Ira says, currently 39 degrees, feels like 34 with a 13-mile-an-hour wind, 50% humidity. I have no idea what our humidity is. It's always, I like hardly ever look at that here because it's just so low. Even when it's not, it's still low. I think we were 13 degrees this morning. I don't think it's warmed up a whole lot. We may be, well, let's just look here. This says 26. I don't think we're at 26. Not here, but we might be. Supposed to be in the single digits here by Friday. Yikes. Just for a day or two. Not too bad, but yeah, we usually get a cold spell, and maybe that's our cold spell. And if it's only like it says 3 or 4 degrees, if that's as cold as it gets, then I think we got it made pretty well. Because usually our cold spell in January is 15 to 20 below Fahrenheit. What's that Celsius? 20 below is what? Minus 30? Minus 25? 28? That's pretty cold. Patty asks, have you still got snow there? We have a little bit. Not a ton, like we had last week in the picture that I posted. We had a good 8 inches of snow. If I look out there, there's some spots where it's kind of shaded from the sun throughout the day. Those spots definitely have some snow, and there's a couple spots where I've done some shoveling, from around where we park our cars and things, where it's piled up a little bit more. We have a little bit of snow there, but for the most part, most of it's gone, except for those shady parts or where some of the snow drifts piled up. But otherwise, it's not too bad, and all the roads and everything are clear. Our weather here is so weird. It's not like anything I experienced growing up in the eastern United States. Why stop, camera? What are you doing? Hey, stop tracking for a moment. Our weather here, we could get a really bad snow, and the next day, as soon as the sun comes out, really, it'll end up clearing off everything. So it's not all that bad. Even this here, we got a fair bit of snow. The roads were cleared off in about a day or two, and now we're just left with kind of on the grassy surfaces, I guess. I don't mind it though. I like the snow. It's winter. I expect there to be snow. Yeah, so before we get to what I'm working on, like I've just been busy, I mentioned earlier, just busy with some things outside of the shop, just some more kind of personal stuff. We're working on school, um, school stuff for my daughter next year. And, just it's been taking up quite a bit of time, which is not a bad thing. It's just kind of one of those things, right? When you go to high school, our area is a little bit different than where I grew up. Where I grew up, you went to the school that was whatever the high school was that's in your district. You didn't have an option to go to different schools. And out here, it's different because you can kind of choice into whatever school you want to, really. So spending time like researching and visiting different schools and all that stuff, making appointments and sending emails and getting all the information. It's, oh boy. I think we got it about sorted out, but that's been taking up a lot of time, and that's why I was delayed. I was sending some emails to some people with some questions about stuff. So anyway, we're back. We're in the shop. What have we been working on? I'm sure you can guess. I'll show you in just a minute. Robert says, was just watching Robbie Layton video. One of his fans sent him a custom handmade acoustic guitar. Looks pretty nice and sounded good also. Wow, I'll have to check that out. I haven't watched Robbie in a little while. Patty says, we've been moving horses to go to Spain in a few weeks for show jumping competition. Oh, man, that's awesome. My daughter would probably be the first in line to sign up for that. She wants to do jumping so bad. That's cool. So you take some to Spain. That is so cool. Wow. Yep, we have a show here, not a jumping show, but this is a Western. Well, my daughter's doing the Western stuff. Not this weekend, but next weekend she'll be at a show. We don't have to go to Spain for that though. That sounds like fun. Ours is just a little bit up the road. That's cool. So how do you haul them to Spain? I'm curious. Do you have to like put them on a ferry and take them across? Do you fly them? How do you do that? I'm guessing like a ferry somehow. But I don't know, maybe not. I'm interested. Let me know. Yeah, so what have we been working on here besides drinking coffee in the cold? What do you think? Last week, well, if you saw the video where I kind of talked about getting started, you'll know that I have this template that I just cut out for the guitar build that I'm working on. This right here, this template is my template that I've used for all of my builds up until now. It's one of my template set. And this I've been working on digitizing to use for the next build. And I think we pretty well have this thing figured out. You can see I've changed a little bit of the shape to kind of make things a little more sleek, a little more updated. But this is basically the shape. I've got it. This is my test piece. Got it all cut out. One thing I noticed, and I never noticed this on the actual on the guitars that I've built, but it is not. I've noticed some inconsistencies actually, because this is made by hand and this is drawn out on the computer, so I'm able to actually define curves and things. I'm noticing a little bit where I've got maybe a little bit of a flat spot here and it's not over here, just from that handmade kind of some of the variations. But I've got the template, or the first test template, done yesterday. I spent a while just cutting out a test body. You'll notice that you can't really judge this one because I'm testing things. I didn't have all the heights and everything quite correct, so there's little ridges in here, but that's not what I was working on. I was working on really just testing the processes, dimensions, bits, all that sort of thing, just seeing how everything looks. And then I spent some time yesterday evening going back through, making some adjustments, corrections, and I'm going to run off another test body. But we're this close, I think, to cutting one out. But I want to see. I've even tried like just some weird bevels and different contours and things that, just experimenting. But I think overall, I don't think I'm going to include this bevel, although I kind of like it. It doesn't really do any good. It doesn't help. It doesn't make it more comfortable for playing or anything. It's just something I was playing around with. Nice arm bevel here. Some different contours here. I might scratch those too and just do the ones on the back that I like to do. But yeah, just playing around. Playing around. It's kind of playing around. Trying to get this thing ready to go. Mike Johnson says, me sleeping. Right on, Mike. Good morning. Sempakin says, good morning, one and all. Good morning, Rick. What's going on? How are you this fine Wednesday morning? Robert says, just got the notification that the stream started. Better late than never, I guess. Interesting. Jimmer's here, says, should I check my email? No, I don't think so. I didn't email you this morning. What's going on, man? How are you doing this morning? Rick says, looks like pretty nice wood for testing. It looks like it, but it's not. Trust me. This was from that giant log that I had a couple years ago, and it's all figured. It's all figured, which was super cool, and I was really excited about. But there's so many cracks, splits, bad spots, and just in general areas that unfortunately are really no good for really. I can't get enough nice clear material now to use for anything, so I've been using it for testing. It cuts real easy, and so that way if I make a mistake and I try to cut too much at once, this stuff's not really hard and I don't break a bunch of bits. it's just not great. It gets real fuzzy. This is, as best as I can tell, cottonwood, which is not a great material anyway. Overall, if I'd have got this log, I guess is what I'm saying. If I'd have got this log maybe a couple years before I did, because I don't know how many years it's been on the ground, maybe even a year before I did, it probably would have been in a lot better shape. But it didn't age well. It wasn't, I don't know when it was cut down, or, but it looks super cool because it's figured, right? There's a lot of figure in this, which is really neat. And that's why I was so excited to get this log. But once I started cutting into it, it's not. Or once it started drying, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It just it didn't dry so well. So it's, unfortunately, for the most part, I've used it for a couple things here and there. For the most part, it's just test stuff, which is too bad. But hey, I don't have to go buy test stuff, MDF or anything like that. I just use this. But it works pretty good for that. But probably run off another one here once we're done with the live. Run off another test body. Heritage says it would look good if you extended the front bottom bevel right round to meet the top one at the center. Look good if you extend the front bottom bevel. Oh, you mean like all the way around? This kind of thing? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I wanted an arm bevel for sure. I got to do a little bit of work here because this is kind of a weird shape. It's done some goofy stuff, kind of just some fine tuning. But I saw this on another guitar earlier this week. Just a bevel right there. And I'm like, that's kind of an interesting concept. So I wanted to just play around with it. I don't know. It doesn't really do much. But if this is what you're talking about, like extend this around, might be able to do that. This is not super hard to model in, but it's not super easy either, if that makes any sense. There's a couple different ways to do it. This was just one of the ways, and I've got there's a weird curve here. Now this would be easy because I wouldn't even have to fix that really. I would just go in there with a rasp and smooth that out. But I'm trying to get it as close as possible. But just experimenting with stuff. I don't know if, usually I like to carve a little access carve at the back here. I've never done them on the front. But again, just playing around with stuff. Just because it's on here, I don't have to do it. I just basically turn that feature off. I can plop some in on the back. I almost think, I don't know. I try to play around. Of course, I'm not a shredder or anything, so really those don't matter to me. But what I have in mind for the first build is some sort of a, I'm not sure what wood I would use exactly, but I want to do walnut on the top. So when you carve it away, you'll see the wood underneath, whether it's mahogany or what. And I just think that would be cool. Carve it away from the front. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. I'm open to any and all suggestions, for sure. Robert says, checks, cracks, and defects are what resin is for. That is true. That's true. And there's some of these have a lot of those. Sam says a split or damaged body doesn't mean it cannot be turned into a guitar. For any professional, it can be rustic. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I still have a fair bit of this stuff left. Well, I mean, several slabs. So I keep looking though. Maybe I'll find one that has a nice solid section and we'll turn that into a guitar. It would be cool because I do like this wood. It's so light though. It would make a super comfortable guitar, I think. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. But on the other hand, I'm afraid that it might make it like headstock heavy. You might get that neck dive going on. I'm not sure. Harry Dude says tummy bevel on the back. Yep. Yep, right here. Kind of a slight, kind of gives it a cool look from the side. Yep, I always like that belly contour for sure. Charles Anderson. Do I look like Stephen Hawking's? I don't know. Don't know. But what's going on? How you doing? Oh, let's see. But yeah, so this is what has been taking up a lot of my time. Yeah, a lot of computer time, a lot of back and forth, programming a cut, running the cut, back to the computer, modifying the cut, running the different cut. It's all in the prep work, I think. It's that whole, you know, what am I trying to say? All the work is done ahead of time, I guess, as opposed to if you're building a guitar using regular templates. Using a regular template, I mean, I could have had this body cut out already. I mean, in all actuality. But once this is programmed, then we'll be, whoa, what have I done? I closed something out. Then that'll be where I want it to be. I don't know. I'm confusing myself. Let's move on. Robert says, did you ever see some of the guitars that Crimson made from wood that most people throw in the trash bin? I think I have. I've seen him do some crazy stuff with, you know, where it's split in half and he's got like rods or something to kind of hold it together. And yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. Oh, that's kind of cool. Sam says Nightbot can filter. Yeah, see that? But that I don't. I mean, as long as that's where we're at, I'm cool with it, I guess. Yeah, and I looked around for that a little bit, and I I can't find anything like that related to YouTube. So it's got to be a plugin or something. It is not part of native YouTube that I can find. So I don't know. Unless I'm not looking in the right spot. I think you mentioned it's part of YouTube. I don't think so. Anyway, so what have you guys been working on? Hey dude, what's been what's been the challenging repair? Amps, LED lights? I mentioned or I think it was 2 weeks ago, yeah, that I had some repairs that I had to do. Those are long gone. And it's kind of nice to get some repairs a little bit more. I might take in a few more here. Well, especially while it's cold. It's always nice to have stuff like that going on when it's super cold. Jonathan Haley, what's going on? Says I'm building my first acoustic at the moment. Just finished the binding and the body is pretty much complete. Yes! Have the neck scarf joint glued up, heel, and basic shaping is next. Right on. That is awesome. Oh, that's exciting. Jonathan says your acoustic series has been a lot of help. Oh man, Jonathan, that's great. I'm glad that was helpful for you, and I'm super excited that you're at that step. You've pretty much got the box done with the binding and everything. That is so cool. Nice. So give us details. Give us details. What body shape? Is it an OM, a dreadnought? What's the wood? What's the back and sides, the top? We want all the details. Well, I want all the details. That's awesome. Yeah, let us know. Robert says, got to go get a mug of coffee. Be right back. Keep going, everybody. I'm going to drink coffee too. Hair Dude says, nothing exciting of late. Guitar setups and restrings. Just getting back into it after a break for Christmas and New Year's. You know, those basically restrings, that's mainly, that was mostly, for the most part, what I had a couple weeks ago. That stack of guitars that the customer brought me. They were mostly, I mean, tiny tweaks. You know, like not even a full setup. Just a, you know, adjust a truss rod kind of thing. One of them, okay, this one was interesting. One of them was one of those Bronco bass. Have you seen those Squire Bronco basses? I think they're like 30-inch scale length, sort of a mini bass or a short scale bass, I guess. This thing was brand new. So this guy, the customer of mine, teaches. He does some lessons, and this was for one of his lesson students, and the student had, or the person, I don't know, had bought this thing literally like a month before, or you know, they've only had it for about a month, and it wouldn't stay in tune for nothing. So he's like, you know, can you check it out? It's brand new kind of thing. So what I ended up finding, which really didn't take all that long to find, was the neck was not seated in the neck pocket. I don't know if you've ever seen this, because I guess maybe the neck screw holes through the body, I'm guessing they were a little bit undersized. And when they ran the screws through, it pushed a bunch of splinters out into the neck pocket. And it was literally keeping the neck, like I could shine a flashlight into the neck pocket from the neck, and you could see light all the way down. It was keeping the neck from seating fully in the neck pocket. And I think that maybe when it was new, that wasn't much of an issue because wherever it was made kind of thing. But when it came to Colorado, I'm guessing that it maybe dried out, because I think he said that they ordered it. Well, then I think that's just kind of my idea, I guess, that you know, it kind of dried out, so then that it was able to like very slightly wiggle around since it wasn't seated in there. I pulled the neck off, you know, sanded all those splinters off of there, got it seated fully, went back in, got everything tightened up, you know, and basically only had to readjust the truss rod and then the intonation, you know, just a quick setup on it. But I was surprised at how much of a gap was between the neck and the neck pocket. I've never seen a guitar with a gap quite like that. It was pretty wild. Let's see. Sam says, after the stream, ask Google how to implement Nightbot to your live stream. I'll have to do that. Send back in. Rick says, I finished up a finger fretboard for a client. It's national. Sold my telly. Sold my upright bass I refurbished. Now, with the weather decent, I had to cut the grass yesterday. That is, that's awesome, Rick. I'm glad you made some sales. That's great. Congrats on that. And cutting your grass already. We don't even have grass. It's all brown and dead. That's insane. Jim says, you already know the belt grinder. Yes, Jim is finally getting the belt grinder put together. That's awesome. Jonathan says it's a GS Mini clone, Sitka spruce, curly red birch back and sides. That sounds cool. And Gaboon ebony binding. Ooh, nice. That's going to be awesome. So, question for you on the build so far, right? Sounds like you've got the body done, except for the binding. What was the most challenging part for you for the body? I'm just curious. Was there one step that stood out more than the rest as far as maybe difficulty goes? Robert says, I'm back. Sip. Ah. Cheers. That is tasty. That's great, Robert. I'm glad. I'm glad it's delicious. Let me check the stream here. I'm a little off-centered for some reason. I'm trying the dual stream again, the horizontal as well as vertical. Apparently that's a thing. There we go. We're a little more centered in there. So if you happen to be watching this on horizontal, let me know, as opposed to vertical. I'm just trying to see if it's something that anybody uses. Alrighty. I'm trying to think, Jonathan, what the most difficult process was for me throughout that. The thing that comes to mind for me, I don't know. That's kind of a hard question, I guess, now that I kind of think about that. I'm thinking the hardest part for me for my first build was I want to say closing the box, or trying to glue even or just the back or the top, one of those, glue any of those to the sides. I found it pretty challenging for me to use the I did sort of a go bar deck, but I don't have a lot of room in here. So that got really challenging because that whole thing is kind of tall, and trying to have room to get all the way around to make sure that you've got all of the sticks in there before the glue sets up. That was kind of stressful for me, that part. But I'm curious. Like, I always like to know what part of the process gave someone a hard time, because everybody's going to come across something different, I think, in a lot of cases. Now, there was a ton of steps throughout that process where I felt like, man, I hope I don't destroy this thing. Robert says, you guys know the drill. Click that like, thumbs up button. Yes, bam, hit the thumbs up button. And the subscribe button if you're not. Mike says, not me. TikTok, not my thing. It's not really mine either, but it's a new feature that YouTube has released to where you can live stream in the vertical position as well. And I'm trying to, you can do it at the same time. And I'm just trying to gauge whether or not it's worth messing with. I don't know if it helps more people tune in, or that's what I'm trying to understand. You got to experiment, you know what I mean? And I'm looking at our dropped frames number that I mentioned at the beginning. It's 0.6 now. So the number's still dropping. So I'm not too worried about weird technical difficulties. All right. So, yeah. So once we're done here, I'm going to get back to this. I think I'm going to, I got a couple little tweaks to make on the model, and then I think I'm going to fire up another test cut, do another one of these, and then I got to do a test cut on the neck. It's kind of a long process, not the test cut, but, well, not the model's all done. Everything's pretty well done. It's just programming all the G code, and then we'll be, hopefully, after, I don't even know. I don't even want to guess. I was going to say the next couple of days, I'll finish the testing, and then we'll start actually building. That's probably wishful thinking. It might take longer than that, but that's kind of what is in my mind. But if we're supposed to be ridiculously cold this weekend, I don't know how much I'm going to be out here. Sam Packin says, I had an opportunity to have 3 different molds for acoustic guitars, but passed. Thought of you, Jeff. Well, thanks, Rick. Thanks for thinking of me. See, you got to build an acoustic. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think you'd enjoy that process, Rick. It is quite the experience for sure. I got to get on another one too. One of these days, I got to start another build. I want to do that. Maybe we'll do a couple at a time, which sounds absolutely it sounds very stressful. But what, I need to build another one. Jimmer says you need a waste oil heater if it's too cold. It's going to be pretty cold. Low single digits. Yeah. Robert says the slab you have the test body sitting on looks almost like black limba. Hope you use it in a build. This is a piece, I think I showed you this last week, maybe the week before. This is a piece of beetle kill ponderosa pine. I might use it for a build. I don't know. I don't know how well it'll hold up. The growth rings are not ideal for a guitar body, but I don't know. It's something I pulled out initially to use for a test. I don't know if I will or if I'll actually build something out of it. It is definitely not hardwood, and I'm not 100% happy with the way the growth rings are. If I wanted to use it for a guitar, I need a pencil. Let me show you. So this right here is kind of roughly how the growth rings are. And then over here, we're kind of so that it, it would have went like this. The dead center of the tree is almost right here. So you're going to get a lot of movement up here this way because the ring, this is pretty well flat sawn right here, but you're not going to get a whole lot down here. So I don't think the stability of, or maybe I got that backwards, but either way, you're not going to, I don't think you're going to get even movement, and I'd be afraid of what might happen later on if I were to try to use that for a guitar. I love the coloring in it. It's so cool. I just don't know if it's going to make a great guitar. Rick says, at my age, I'm not sure I want the challenge. Rick. You could do it. It would be fine. He says I used Beetle Kill for my first full-size LP build. Turned out great. Yeah, I don't have any problem with the material itself. This one is literally just right there is like the center of the tree pretty much. Well, it probably was about maybe not even a half inch below this. I don't have a problem with using that wood. I think it's perfectly fine. In fact, even Fender has quite a few made out of pine that they used to do, or softwood anyway. I just don't know about that particular piece. I got another one. Got another piece here. Actually, this is probably the other half of that. Because right here, this section would be all right. That's quarter sawn, pretty much. But it's not quite wide enough. Unless I cut it off of that one and put them together. That's quartered. This right here is flat. And this is rift. So they're just not great pieces, and that's probably why I have these particular ones sitting around, because I haven't used them for anything, because the grain's wonky. Robert says if it's been cut for a while and still flat, it should be stable enough to use. I don't disagree with that, though. Yeah. These have been cut for 4 or 5 years. Something like that. Do you guys remember? Do you remember quite a while back, 4 or 5 years ago, where I built a tabletop basically out of wet material, and then I did like a 6-month-long time lapse as it sat in a dry location, and we watched it break. These are offcuts from that tabletop. In fact, I still have that tabletop. It's stashed away right now, but I still have it. It's all busted to pieces. Well, down the center in the seams. These are offcuts from that. That was cut on camera 4 or 5 years ago. So and it was fresh hauled in logs from the woods, from the mountains. So yeah, it's been cut for quite a long time. It is definitely dry. Gina's here! Look who made it! Gina says I made it for a bit today, but I have to go again. These maps won't make themselves. Haha. Hi all. Bye all. Well, hi and bye. Thanks for stopping in. Hope you have a great day. Oh, let's see. Mike says, I feel the biggest challenge is building or getting a template. Once mine was done, all I needed was the kick in the pants to get it done. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Even these, right? These templates. This is my main MDF template for my Dorian. Once these are done, it's easy, really, right? You stick the template down, you cut away, you route it, blah, blah, blah. Everything's there. This is pretty much the same way, except I'm not making a template. But it's all in the testing. It's all in the, okay, I need to, if you're going to route this, you're like, okay, I need to use this router bit for that. I need to use this router bit for this. I need to use this process for that. This is the same thing, except instead of actually doing it, you're programming the machine to do it. There's really it's not a huge difference, even though it is kind of, but you know what I mean. But you're right. Getting everything figured out, that's where the work is. Once it's done, like you said, you just go do it. This is the same way. Jim says, getting slow and breaking up. Uh-oh. Oh, the number is going up. Uh-oh. It is. Oh, we're getting a bunch of dropped frames now. Oh, no. Yeah, I think we're going to have a problem here pretty quick, real fast. I think I'm going to... yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Yeah, the dropped frames is climbing rapidly. We're at 5%. Sam says you need a Netgear Orbi mesh. Since I got it, I have no issues. I have a mesh, Sam. It is not the mesh. The issue is my internet speed fluctuates. My mesh is fine. Yeah, my mesh is fine. I have the app here on the phone. The mesh is fine. Internet's all up. It's my internet speed varies so much. Yeah, dropped frames is climbing quickly. We may have to wrap this up early here in a couple minutes. If that keeps going, we're going to have a lot of problems. Let's see if I can get through these last few comments. Mike says, yeah, especially without a shop. I agree. I know what you mean. Tony's here. Tony says, morning, sunshine. Morning, Tony. What's going on? Rick says, do you have any idea where a guy could get a template for a Rick 325? Tried all the usual places. Rick, did you try Potvin Guitars? Get a hold of Mike. He could probably make it up for you, even if it's not something he offers. I forget what he charges, but definitely hit him up, and I'm sure he can help you with that. He does really good custom work. I've had him do a couple things for me before, and it's just fine. So check out Mike. I'm not sponsored or anything. I have no affiliation with Potvin Guitars. I just know that he does awesome work, and yeah, I really like Mike. So yeah, that's where I would do, Rick. I would shoot him an email. Robert says, check the moisture content of the wood. If it's 12% or less, should be fine. It's probably 9 or 10, because that's all we get here. 7.3, how about that? 6.8. 7.6, it's dry. Our moisture here is so low, like, I don't think it can get a whole lot drier than what these boards are. Sam says, Buffafa? Sam Packin says yes. Yeah, Sam Packin, just email Mike. He could probably hook it up. Harry Dude says, so your new connection hasn't happened yet. No, I don't know what's going on. Like I told you, the conduit, there's 3 different runs of conduit in the ground. I can never figure that out. I know for a fact the one that we're connecting to that goes right to our electrical box has the fiber optic cable in it. They just need to come through, connect a cable to that, and run it to the house. However they do that, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Rick says, never ask for a custom. Yes, do that. I don't know. I don't remember what it is. He charges, I don't know what it is, 20 bucks or 15 bucks or I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. He'll charge you a couple bucks for the custom work and you will get an awesome template. Robert says, video has been stopping a few times. I back up the progress bar slider a short amount and it picks back up. It looks like, nope, drop frames is still increasing. So my apologies, everyone. I'm sorry for any technical difficulties or glitching that you may or may not experience. I have zero control over it. It is not my internet. I am plugged into the router. The mesh, the Wi-Fi, everything is working as it should. It's just I'm at the whim of whatever sort of connection comes in to the house. Sam Packin says, what kind of moisture reader is that? This is the Orion moisture meter by Wagner Meters. This is actually, when I was talking about building that table that we built out of wet material, this was in part, that video was in partnership with Wagner Meters, showing off the Orion. This thing is amazing. It is not inexpensive, but it is awesome. And yeah, this thing works great. And the whole premise of that video was to show why do you want to know the moisture reading of your material. So we built that table out of sopping wet wood, and it dried out over 6 months and ended up breaking. But yeah, this thing is great. There's different settings in there. It is not a pinless meter, right? There's no pins. You don't stab it into your wood like a lot of those do. You literally just put it on the material and you get a reading of 7.8, 7.7, 7.2. Like, this thing is super awesome. My workbench is 10.5, 7.9. It's awesome. What? 6.7? It's probably my sweater. Rick says, I need one, I think. I have an affiliate link for these. If you go to the website and you click into the website, there's a sidebar thing, a link with one of these in the picture. You can go to that and pick one up. It says buffering here, no worries. Yeah, we're at 11.4% dropped frames. That is unacceptable. Yeah, I highly recommend, Rick, if you're looking for a moisture meter, this thing is awesome. Again, it's not inexpensive, but it is amazing. It's probably the last one you'll have to buy. And it comes with this, it's got a rubber sleeve around there to protect it, which is awesome. I have dropped this, unfortunately. It comes with the cool case and a little calibration stand. It's a super awesome meter. But anyway, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up a few minutes early, mainly because I keep seeing that number rising, and I don't want it to get really bad. We are close to the end of the hour as well, but I'll be able to try to restart the network or something and see if that fixes it. But yeah, now we're 12.1%. The number's climbing. I'm afraid it's going to just drop out. So we're going to wrap this up now. I'm going to go get back to work on this model, start up the machine, run another test cut. We're getting much closer to building this multi-scale Dorian, baritone Dorian. Super cool, super excited. Plus, it's going to be cold here. My feet are kind of cold at the moment. I need to turn the heat back on. But yeah, you guys, my apologies again for the technical difficulties. Yep, 12.6% drop frames. It's getting bad. So we're going to wrap this up now. Thank you all so much for tuning in here at Home Built Workshop. I hope all of you are having an awesome week. Hope the rest of your week is great too. And I also hope you get some time to go work on some things. Go build some stuff. Do some stuff with your hands. Have some fun. Rick says, wow, the $950 is $900? I didn't think it was that much money. $900? No. Is that Canadian? Maybe that's Canadian? Unless their price went up that much. Hold on. Before I close. No, I don't want to. That's going to cut out. I'll have to check it out. I don't know about that. Maybe the price went up, Rick. I'm not sure. Robert says, I think I have either that model of moisture meter or one very close to it. Yes, they have several. They have a couple different versions. This one is like, this is the 950.